The relic found. The cave was colder than ice and darker than night. For explorers moved slowly through the underground tunnel, their flashlights cutting thin lines in the endless black. The air smelled of dust and stone, like a tomb that had been sealed for ages. At the front of the group walked Daniel, a young man with messy hair and a smile that never faded. He was the kind of person who joked even in dangerous places. Behind him was Sarah, serious and sharp-eyed, carrying the map that had led them here. Beside her walked Raj, the strongest of the team, carrying most of the heavy equipment on his back. And finally, there was Miguel, quiet but curious, always filming everything with his camera. The deeper they went, the more the tunnel began to change. The walls were no longer rough stone but smooth and carved with strange marks. Symbols glowed faintly, as if they had been waiting for human eyes to see them again. Sarah raised her light and whispered, "These are not natural carvings. Someone made this place." Daniel laughed. "Maybe aliens left us a treasure chest." His voice echoed in the tunnel, but no one laughed back. Even he felt the strange chill of the air, as if something was listening. After what felt like hours, they reached a chamber. It was huge, like a cathedral built under the earth. At the center stood a pedestal, and on it rested the object that made their breath catch. It was the relic, silver and black, shaped like a twisted crown, but smooth like water. It hummed softly, a sound that was not loud but pressed against their ears. Miguel raised his camera. This is not human." Raj stepped forward carefully, his boots crunching against the ancient dust. He whispered, "Should we touch it?" Sarah pulled him back. "No, they don't even know what it is. It could be dangerous." But Daniel only grinned. "Come on, it's just an old toy," he said, his voice mocking the heavy silence. The others stared at him, warning him with their eyes, but Daniel loved being the fool. He leaned over the pedestal, his face inches from the relic. The humming grew louder like a heartbeat. "Watch this," Daniel said with a laugh, and before anyone could stop him, he pressed his lips against the relic. The world froze. For a single moment, there was no sound, no breath, no movement. Then the relic exploded with light. Blinding, white fire shot across the chamber walls, filling every corner with shadows that moved like they were alive. The ground shook beneath their feet. Rocks fell from above. Sarah screamed, "Daniel, what did you do?" Daniel stumbled back, his lips burning, his skin glowing faintly where it touched the relic. I just kissed it," he shouted, terrified now, his joke turning into fear. The relic lifted itself from the pedestal, floating in the air like it had no weight. The humming became a roar, a voice without sound, filling their bones. Miguel dropped his camera, his hands over his ears. "It's speaking. Oh God, it's speaking." And then they saw it. From the glowing relic, a shape formed. A tall figure, taller than any human, made of smoke and light. Its eyes were two burning stars, cold and hateful. The air froze around them, their lungs heavy with fear. The voice came at last, deep and ancient. "You mock me, human," it said, each word sharp like a blade. "You dare kiss the prison that holds me, and you awaken me from my sleep." Daniel fell to his knees, trembling. "I didn't mean." Silence. The voice thundered, and even the chamber seemed to shake. "You're marked now, fool. Your blood is mine." A glowing symbol appeared on Daniel's neck, burning like fire. He screamed, clawing at his skin, but the mark would not fade. The spirit turned its eyes on the others. "I'm a last of my kind, destroyed by your kind long ago. Humanity will pay for what was done. Through you, I shall rise again." Sarah grabbed Daniel, pulling him up. "We have to get out of here." Raj shouted, "The exit now." They ran toward the tunnel they had entered from, but the stone doors slammed shut before they could reach them. The sound was final, like the cave itself had sealed them inside. The spirit's shadow stretched across the chamber walls, growing larger and larger. It laughed, a sound that was neither human nor animal. "You thought this world belonged to you," it whispered, "but you were only keeping it warm for me." Daniel's body shook as the mark on his neck pulsed with light. He heard the spirit inside his mind. whispering to him alone. "You will be my vessel," it said, "and through you, I will make your people scream." Daniel gasped, looking at his friends with wide eyes. "It's inside me," he whispered. "It's in my head." The relic pulsed again, its glow filling the entire chamber. The explorers clung to each other, trapped in the dark with something far older and far more dangerous than they could imagine. The last thing they heard before the light swallowed them was the spirit's voice. Calm, cold, and full of promise. Humanity will pay. The awakening. The chamber was no longer silent. The humming of the relic had become a storm of sound, deep and heavy, like thunder inside the bones of every human standing there. Shadows twisted across the walls, stretching longer than the light of their flashlights could explain. The air grew colder, but the cold felt alive, as if 1,000 invisible eyes were watching. Sarah pulled Daniel back, but his body resisted. His skin burned with the glowing mark, pulsing like a second heartbeat under his flesh. Daniel's teeth chattered, his breath short. It's talking to me," he whispered. The others froze, for his voice was not only his own, it carried a second tone beneath it, low and alien. The figure above the relic grew clearer. Smoke became form, and light became flesh. It was not a ghost, and not a solid being either. It was something in between, tall, lean, its body flowing like liquid metal, its face half covered by a mask of jagged lines. Its eyes shone white, piercing and endless. Raj stepped forward, his fists tight, though fear shook his arms. "Who are you?" he shouted, trying to sound brave. The spirit's head turned, slow and unnatural, and when it looked at him, Raj felt the air leave his lungs. The voice said, echoing like it came from every wall at once, "am the memory of a people greater than yours. I am the last of those you betrayed, the last of those you slaughtered." Miguel shook his head, filming with shaking hands. "No, that can't be. Humans never fought. Aliens don't exist." The spirit's laugh filled the chamber, sharp and cold. "You know nothing of your history, human," it said. "Your kind erased the truth, buried it beneath your lies, but I remember." Daniel screamed, his body arching as the mark on his neck spread across his skin like fire. Lines of glowing symbols crawled down his chest. The spirit's gaze locked on him. "You broke my prison," it whispered, "and so you are mine." Sarah pulled at Daniel's arm, but the spirit's energy threw her back, crashing her against the wall. She groaned in pain, but forced herself up. "Let him go," she shouted. The alien spirit ignored her. Its hand, though made of light, extended and touched Daniel's chest. At the touch, Daniel convulsed, his scream echoing through the cavern like a dying animal. His eyes flashed white, then human again, then white once more. The relic pulsed brighter. The chamber walls flickered with visions. Images appeared in the air. Burning cities, towers of fire, skies filled with black ships that rained destruction. Billions of humans screaming as alien machines walked across their lands. Sarah's heart froze. She realized these were not just illusions, they were memories. The spirit was showing them the war it spoke of. Thousands of years ago, the voice said, its tone rising, "Your kind came to the stars, reckless, greedy, cruel. You found us, and instead of peace, you brought war." The visions shifted. Humans in ancient armor, carrying weapons of energy, striking down beings of light that looked like the spirit. Our people fought, and we almost won, but in the end, we were betrayed, our armies broken, our world consumed. And I, the last, was sealed in this relic. Daniel dropped to his knees, his breathing ragged. The alien voice poured through him now, not just from the air, but from his own mouth. His lips moved, but it was the spirit's words that came out. "Through this vessel, I rise again," it said. "Through his blood, I will make your world fall." Miguel backed away, tears in his eyes. This can't be real. This is impossible. But the relic's light burned brighter, and the walls shook with a rumble like an earthquake. The stone door behind them split with glowing cracks, sealing them deeper inside. There was no escape. Sarah stood, her fists trembling. "If you want revenge, take it on me, not him," she cried. The spirit turned its cold eyes on her. "You do not understand, little human," it said. "This is not revenge on a man. This is judgment on a species. You walk on stolen ground. You breathe stolen air. Every second of your existence is theft." Daniel gasped, his own voice breaking through for a moment. "Help me, please." His eyes begged his friends, but the next moment, the alien returned, his face twisting into a smile that was not his own. "Do you see?" the spirit said through him. "He is mine, and soon, all you'll be." Raj grabbed a metal rod from his pack and charged. Roaring, he swung with all his strength, striking the glowing figure. But the rod passed straight through like striking smoke. The alien spirit didn't even flinch. Instead, it laughed again, and the rod in Raj's hand snapped in half like dry bone. The relic rose higher, its hum now so loud the chamber felt like it might collapse. Stone dust rained from the ceiling. Cracks split the floor beneath them. The explorers huddled together, their breaths short, their hope fading. The spirit spread its arms wide, its shadow covering them all. "This chamber is only the beginning," it said. "Beyond these walls lies a world that has forgotten me, but I have not forgotten it. Through him, I will rise again, and humanity will pay." The last thing Daniel saw before the lights swallowed him was Sarah's face, her eyes filled with both terror and defiance. And then the spirit whispered in his mind alone, a promise only he could hear. "You will be the bridge, and your people will scream through you." The chamber shook once more, and the relic's glow drowned out all else. The awakening had begun. The curse. Daniel's body hit the ground hard. He clawed at his chest, as if trying to rip something out from beneath his skin. The glowing mark spread wider, crawling across his veins like molten fire. His scream was not human anymore. It carried the echo of the alien's voice inside it. Sarah rushed to him, but the heat around his body forced her back. It was like standing near a burning engine, too hot to breathe. Daniel's eyes flashed open, glowing pure white for an instant before fading back to his human color. But they were not his eyes anymore. They looked deeper, colder, filled with something ancient. The spirit towered over them, arms spread like a dark priest giving a sermon. "This is no accident," it said, its voice shaking the chamber. "This vessel is chosen by his own foolishness, by his kiss of mockery, by his disrespect. He is marked now, cursed to carry me, cursed to carry the death of his world." Daniel groaned, "No, get out of me." But when he spoke, the alien's words tangled with his own. Two voices in one body, one human, one not. "You cannot resist me," the spirit whispered through him, "for your blood is mine now." Miguel backed away, his camera trembling in his hand. This is possession," he whispered. "He's cursed." Raj grabbed Miguel's arm, pulling him back. "Shut up and move. We need to think." But even he could not look away from Daniel's body as it twisted in pain. Sarah shouted, desperate, "Why him? Why not take me instead?" The alien spirit turned slowly, its glowing face like carved stone. "You do not understand, human," it said. "The curse is not a gift. It is a chain. He is mine because he mocked the relic. He is mine because he kissed what should never be touched. Through him, I awaken, and through him, all of you shall fall." Daniel's hands shook violently as the veins of light crawled up his arms. The mark spread to his chest, glowing brighter with each pulse. He cried out again, "It hurts. It's burning me alive." Sarah tried to hold him, tears in her eyes. "Stay with me. Daniel, fight it." But the alien only laughed. "There is no fighting a curse older than your species." The relic pulsed once more, and suddenly the chamber filled with visions again. This time it was not just alien war, but Earth itself. The explorers saw towering cities collapsing in flames, oceans boiling, the skies torn open with fire. They saw human armies running in panic, their weapons useless. And above them all, they saw the same glowing mark, Daniel's mark, spreading across the globe like a disease. Miguel screamed, "It's not just him, it's all of us." The alien voice shook the chamber. "Yes, through him I curse you all. His bloodline is your lifeline, and now it is poisoned. You will see your cities burn, your people scream, your planet bow to me." Daniel collapsed again, gasping for breath. His voice cracked. "Please, please. I didn't mean it." For a moment, his human self broke through, his eyes pleading. But the alien whispered in his head, loud enough that the others could feel it too. "Do not beg. Human, beggars are for the weak, and your entire race is weak." Raj clenched his fists, rage boiling. "Shut up. He's not yours. We won't let you take him." The alien's gaze turned toward him, its smile cruel. "Do you think your fist can break a curse forge before your kind learn fire?" it said. It raised its hand, and the mark on Daniel's neck blazed. Daniel screamed again, his back arching as light burst from his chest. The chamber shook, stones cracking, dust falling from the ceiling like rain. Sarah tried again, her voice breaking. "Why humanity? What do we do to deserve this?" The spirit's laughter echoed like thunder. "You erased history. You erased us," it said, "but I remember. You took our worlds, you killed our children, and now the debt must be paid." Miguel dropped his camera at last, his hand shaking. "This can't be true. Humans never. We don't even have the power to do this." The alien leaned closer, its shadow covering him. "You are children playing with fire," it whispered, "but even children can kill gods if they strike without mercy. That is why I curse you now, to remind you of what your kind truly is: murderers, thieves, parasites." Daniel's body stopped shaking for a moment, his head hanging low. When he lifted it again, his mouth curled into a smile that wasn't his. And when he spoke, his words were no longer his own. "They will burn," he whispered, the alien's voice behind his. "All of them will burn." Sarah's heart sank, but she stepped forward anyway. "No," she said firmly, her voice trembling but strong. "As long as I breathe, I won't let that happen." The alien tilted its head, amused. "Then you will be the first to watch." The relic pulsed again, and the mark on Daniel's chest spread like wildfire. The chamber's light grew so bright it blinded them. The curse had begun, and there was no way back. Escape attempt. The chamber roared like a living beast. The glowing relic spun in the air, pulsing with power, its light flashing like lightning. The explorers shielded their eyes, but the sound was worse than the light. An endless scream of metal and thunder that made their bones ache. Raj grabbed Sarah's arm, shouting over the noise, "We can't fight this. We need to run." Sarah's eyes were locked on Daniel, who was still on the ground, the mark spreading further across his chest. Daniel's lips moved, whispering words that weren't his own. "Burn them, break them, bleed them." Miguel stumbled backward, pointing toward the far side of the chamber. "There, another tunnel. We can get out." Through the haze of dust and smoke, they saw it, a narrow passage half buried by fallen rock. It was small, but maybe big enough to crawl through. The alien spirit floated higher, its shape stretching toward the ceiling. "You think you can escape me?" it asked, its voice calm, cold, almost amused. "You are insects caught in the jar, and there is no breaking the glass." Raj ignored the words, pulling Sarah toward the tunnel. But Sarah tore free, her voice breaking. "We can't leave Daniel." Daniel's body jerked, his head snapping toward her. His eyes glowed white again, and his smile stretched unnaturally. "You should leave," the alien said through his mouth. "But you won't, because humans always die for their weakness." The chamber walls cracked, stone falling in heavy chunks. The floor split open in jagged lines, and from the cracks poured smoke, glowing faintly like fire trapped in mist. Miguel dropped to his knees, coughing. "It's choking us. We have to go now." Sarah grabbed Daniel's shoulders, shaking him. "Fight it. Please fight it. Don't let it take you." For a moment, Daniel's human eyes returned, his face twisted in agony. "Sarah," he whispered, I can't stop it." The alien's laughter erupted again, and his voice overlapped. Yes, he cannot stop me. No human can. Raj shouted in rage, pulling a flare from his pack. He lit it, the red flame bright against the chamber's white glow. Then I'll burn you, he roared, and he hurled it at the spirit. The flare passed through the glowing figure, but when it hit the relic, sparks exploded across the room. The relic screamed, its hum turning into a sharp metallic shriek. The alien's shape flickered, its body twisting as if in pain. For the first time, it stopped laughing. "You dare," it began, but the relic pulsed again, and its words cut short. Sarah's eyes widened. "Raj, the relic, it's weak to fire." Raj grabbed another flare, but before he could light it, the alien raised its hand. The mark on Daniel's chest blazed, and Raj was thrown across the chamber, smashing against the wall with a sickening crack. Sarah screamed his name, but Raj groaned, barely conscious. Miguel rushed to help him, pulling him toward the tunnel. "Move! Move!" he cried, his fear breaking his voice. Sarah turned back to Daniel, her hands trembling. "Daniel, listen to me. You're stronger than it. You have to fight." Daniel's head jerked side to side, his body convulsing. For 1 second, his human voice came back. "Run before it kills you." Then the alien returned, his mouth curling into that cruel smile. "No, let them watch. Let them see how their kind ends." The floor split wider, and black smoke rose higher, forming twisted shapes that looked almost alive. They crawled along the ground like serpents of shadow, reaching for Sarah's legs. She kicked free, panic in her chest, but more shadows kept coming. The alien's voice thundered. "None of you will leave. Your deaths will be my message to your world." Miguel shouted from the tunnel. "Sarah, now, come on." Sarah looked one last time at Daniel, his glowing veins, his trembling body, his eyes half human, half alien. Tears blurred her vision, but she forced herself to run. The three of them dove into the narrow tunnel, crawling through dirt and sharp rock as the chamber roared behind them. The alien spirit's voice followed, echoing through the stone. "You cannot hide, you cannot run. He is mine, and through him I will reach you again." The spirit's power spreads. The three survivors crawled out of the narrow tunnel, their hands bleeding from sharp rocks. At last, they stumbled into the night air, gasping like they had been drowning. The stars above looked cold and distant, the forest around them silent. For one brief moment, they believed they were safe. Then the ground trembled, not like an earthquake, but like the pulse of something alive deep beneath the earth. The trees shook, the birds screamed, and flew into the dark sky. From the mouth of the cavern came a glow, white and unearthly, like a second moon had risen underground. Raj leaned on Miguel for support, his ribs aching from the blow he had taken. We made it out," he whispered, but even he did not sound convinced. Sarah stared back at the cave, her hands trembling. "No, we didn't," she said. "It's not staying there." Even as she spoke, the relic's hum echoed through the forest. The sound spread farther than it should have, rolling across the hills, bouncing off mountains. The air itself seemed to carry it, like the planet was becoming a drum for the alien's voice. Far above, satellites in orbit flickered, their signals scrambled. Operators in distant control rooms stared at their screens as entire networks collapsed without warning. Across the world, pilots reported storms appearing out of clear skies, compasses spinning wildly. Oceans surged, tides rising higher than they should. Coastal cities felt the sea rushing against their walls. In one control center, a general slammed his fist on the table. "What's happening to our systems?" But no scientist had an answer. All they knew was that something old and powerful had woken, and its signal was spreading faster than light. Back in the forest, Miguel dropped to his knees, clutching his head. "It's in me. It's in my ears. I can hear it," he cried. Sarah grabbed his shoulders, shaking him. "No, don't listen. Fight it." But when she looked closer, she saw the truth. Miguel's eyes reflected the same pale glow they had seen in Daniel. Raj cursed under his breath, dragging Miguel to his feet. "We can't stay here. We have to move." Sarah nodded, but her eyes kept darting back to the cavern. The glow was growing brighter, as if the earth itself was splitting open to let something climb free. And then the voice came again, not only from the cavern. It came from the sky, from the ground, from inside their heads. "Your planet is mine," the alien whispered, its words stretching across every corner of the night. "This is only the beginning." Miles away, cities flickered as the power grids shut down. Hospitals went dark, cars stalled in the middle of highways. People screamed in confusion as the world they knew began to collapse in silence. In the oceans, whales cried in unison, their calls louder than ever recorded, their voices filled with panic. Daniel's body still lay in the cavern, his skin glowing with alien veins. But through him, the spirit's reach grew wider. Each pulse of the relic carried its curse farther, each beat shaking Earth a little more. Daniel's lips moved, though no one was near him to hear. "Rise," he whispered in two voices, "rise and remember." Sarah and Raj pulled Miguel through the forest, trying to escape the sound that never left their ears. But no matter how far they ran, the hum followed. Every step they took was heavy, as if gravity itself was pulling them back toward the cavern. Miguel stumbled, falling to the dirt, his body trembling. "The visions," he whispered, his voice broken. "I can see them too." Sarah knelt beside him, fear tightening her chest. "What visions?" Miguel's eyes rolled back, glowing faintly. Cities burning, skies filled with black ships, people screaming. He gasped, gripping her hand. "It's not the future. It's already starting." Raj cursed again, his voice low and angry. "This thing, it's using him like it used Daniel." Sarah shook her head. "No, not using him. It's spreading through all of us." A howl cut through the night, not from any animal they knew. They turned and saw shadows moving through the trees, shapes that looked wrong, tall and twisted, built from smoke and light, like pieces of the alien spirit breaking free into the world. Their glowing eyes locked onto the three humans, and they began to advance. Raj tightened his grip on a broken branch, ready to fight even though he knew it was useless. Sarah pulled Miguel up again, whispering, "Don't stop, don't stop." The shadows moved closer, silent, hungry. The forest around them flickered with white light, as if reality itself was breaking. And then the alien's voice whispered again, calm and certain. "Your planet is already mine," it said. "You run now, but you will run forever." Sarah's heart pounded, but she forced herself forward, dragging Miguel, Raj beside her. They ran deeper into the night, knowing the curse was no longer just in a chamber beneath the earth. It was in the sky, the sea, the machines, and in their own blood. The spirit had awakened, and the world was already changing. The transformation. Deep inside the cavern, Daniel lay still. For a moment, the chamber was quiet, as if the relic had gone to sleep again. But then his body moved, twitching like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. His chest rose sharply, his back arching, the glowing veins crawling higher across his skin. His eyes opened, and they were no longer his. White light poured from them, shining against the cracked stone. His mouth opened in a silent scream, and the sound that came out was not human. It was a layered echo, like 1,000 voices speaking at once. The relic floated lower, circling him like a predator. Its hum matched the rhythm of his heartbeat, each pulse binding the two closer. Daniel clawed at the ground, gasping, "No, I'm still here." But the alien's voice roared through him, drowning him out. "You are not here, you are mine." His skin began to crack, glowing lines spreading like broken glass lit from within. Each crack pulsed with white fire, his veins becoming rivers of light. His bones shifted under his flesh, snapping and bending in ways that should have killed him. But instead, he screamed louder, alive through the agony. Outside the cavern, Sarah, Raj, and Miguel froze in the forest as the earth shook again. A column of white light burst from the mountain, tearing through the clouds above. The night sky burned with an unnatural glow. Raj whispered, "It's him. It's Daniel." Sarah shook her head, her eyes filling with tears. "No, that's not Daniel anymore." Back in the chamber, Daniel's body rose from the ground without his own strength. His feet hovered inches above the stone floor, his arms spread wide. The cracks in his skin spread to his face, glowing lines cutting across his cheeks. His voice carried both his human cry and the alien's cruel whisper. "I feel everything," he gasped. "I feel the whole world." The alien spirit stood beside him now, no longer just smoke and light. It was becoming solid, feeding on Daniel's transformation. Its form grew sharper, taller, its mask of jagged lines turning into armor. It looked almost alive again, but its core was still tied to Daniel. The spirit spoke, its voice calm and powerful. "Through this vessel, I walk again," it said. "Through his blood, I rise, and through his flesh, your world dies." Daniel tried to resist, his voice breaking through for a moment. "Sarah, help me," he begged, tears mixing with the glowing cracks on his face. But then the alien pulled him back under, his lips twisting into a smile that wasn't his. "You can't save him," it said through his mouth, "because he doesn't exist anymore." Miguel fell to his knees, clutching his head as visions poured into his mind again. He saw Daniel walking through burning streets, leading armies of shadow. He saw humans bowing before him, their faces broken, their bodies trembling. He saw cities collapsing as Daniel's glowing veins spread across the earth like roots. Miguel cried out, "He's becoming the bridge. He's the door." Sarah grabbed Miguel, shaking him. "Stop it. Don't give in." But in her heart, she knew he was right. Daniel was no longer just cursed. He was transforming into something meant to end humanity. Back in the cavern, Daniel's body twisted again. His hands stretched into claws of light, his voice shifting between scream and laughter. Every breath he took released waves of energy that cracked the chamber walls. The relic fused tighter with his chest, embedding itself like a second heart. Blood and light mixed together, dripping onto the stone floor like liquid fire. The alien spirit stepped forward, pressing its hand against Daniel's back. And with that touch, Daniel's scream became silence. His body stilled, his glowing veins now pulsing in rhythm with the relic. His head rose slowly, his eyes burning brighter than ever. When he spoke, the voice was no longer divided. It was one, perfect and terrifying. "I'm no longer only human," he said. "I am the end of humans." The chamber shook violently, stone pillars collapsing, the ceiling splitting. But the light around Daniel held the debris in the air, floating as if obeying him. He raised his hand, and the rocks drifted aside, clearing the chamber like it was nothing. The spirit's laughter echoed, no longer weak, but powerful, triumphant. "The vessel is ready," it said, "and your world will fall." Outside, Sarah, Raj, and Miguel saw the white column of light spread wider. It was no longer just a beam, it was a signal, a call. Somewhere beyond the stars, something ancient was listening, something older than the spirit itself. Sarah's heart froze as the thought struck her. "This isn't just about Daniel," she whispered. "He's calling for others." Raj clenched his fists, his voice grim. "Then this isn't the end. It's only the start." And inside the cavern, Daniel smiled with eyes that were no longer his. The transformation was complete. The final suspense. The mountain groaned as if alive. From its cracks poured white fire, spreading through the forest like roots of lightning. The sky above churned, clouds spiraling into a storm that had no center. Animals fled, rivers shook, and the stars themselves seemed dimmer. Inside the cavern, Daniel stood in silence. No longer human, no longer himself. His glowing veins pulsed in rhythm with the relic now fused to his chest. Every beat was louder than a heartbeat, more like a war drum calling to something beyond the world. Sarah, Raj, and Miguel had reached the forest edge, but none of them could run farther. They turned back, watching the mountains split open, the glow rising higher, swallowing the night. Daniel raised his hand, and stone itself obeyed him. Shattered pillars floated like feathers, swirling in patterns around him. His voice echoed, steady and cold. "I feel everything," he whispered, "the sky, the sea, the blood of every human beating as one." Then the alien's voice overlapped his, finishing the thought. "And I will break it all." The cavern walls crumbled, the ground splitting open in violent waves. Yet Daniel floated untouched, calm in the chaos. The alien spirit beside him had changed too. It was no longer just smoke and light. It now had form, armor of shadow, a crown of jagged flame. Together, they looked like king and herald, reborn in fire. Raj shouted over the roaring earth, "We have to stop him now. If he gets out, we're finished." But Sarah shook her head, her face pale, her voice trembling. "He's already out, Raj. He doesn't need to leave that cave. He's everywhere." As if to prove her words, the relic pulsed again. Across the globe, machines failed, oceans rose, skies burned with strange auroras. In distant cities, people screamed as their devices flickered with symbols they didn't understand. The same glowing marks that now crawled across Daniel's skin. Miguel's eyes rolled back as another vision struck him. He saw black ships tearing through the stars, millions of them, answering the relic's signal. He saw Earth not as a home, but as prey. He gasped, clutching his head. "He's calling them. He's not alone." Daniel smiled then, and the smile was both his and not his. His human lips curved, but the alien's will stretched behind them. "You thought you were alone in the stars," he said. "You thought you were safe, hidden in your ignorance." His glowing eyes turned upward, beyond the cave, beyond the sky. "But the others are listening now, and they are coming." The chamber shook harder, its ceiling breaking apart. Rocks the size of houses fell, but they never touched Daniel. They froze midair, hanging like puppets on invisible strings. With a flick of his hand, he hurled them against the walls, shattering stone into dust. Sarah's voice broke as she screamed, "Daniel, fight it, please. You're still in there." For a moment, his eyes flickered, a human spark behind the light. His lips trembled, and he whispered her name, "Sarah." But then the alien crushed it, his smile returning sharper than before. "No," he said, "I'm not Daniel anymore." The relic blazed, brighter than the sun. Its hum turned into words, and the spirit's voice carried them. "Your species is a stain on the stars, a mistake that must be erased. But first you will watch." The ground split open beneath Daniel's feet. From the crack rose a black pillar of light, endless and deep. It was not fire, not smoke. It was something older, a gate, stretching not across space, but across existence itself. Sarah clutched Raj's arm, her voice breaking. "He's opening something." Raj nodded grimly. "A door." Miguel trembled, his face pale. "Not a door out, a door in." The alien spirit turned to the collapsing chamber, its voice calm as the world crumbled. "This vessel is ready, and the signal is sent. Others like me will rise, not just here, but everywhere. This world is only the first." Daniel floated higher, his body glowing brighter. The relic embedded in his chest pulsed like a second sun. He raised his arms wide as the cavern collapsed entirely. The final words left his mouth with certainty. "You should not have kissed the relic," he said, his voice both mocking and divine. "But now it's too late." The chamber collapsed into fire and shadow. The mountain split, and the relic's light vanished into thin air. The forest shook, the storm above swallowed the stars. In the silence that followed, the world realized the awakening had only just begun.